Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Bang the ling chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Bang the ling chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican now.
What up, y'all? Babylon 5 Podcast. It's your boy, Jermaine Events. How you guys doing? This is episode 192. Calling this bad boy All Nonsense. Thank you guys for being here for the 192nd consecutive week. If you have, you deserve some type of prize. I'm not sure what that is, but you deserve it. You definitely deserve it. Let me put that up a little bit. Seems like my levels are pretty low. I don't know, I be listening to it. It don't sound low, but as I'm recording, it looks pretty low. But anywho, hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Hope this week is about to be great for you. My last couple weeks have been pretty cool. A lot less stress these days, ladies and gentlemen. A lot less stress. We're going to talk about Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia just for a little bit. And I want to be honest about the situation with myself in boxing. We're going to talk about UFC Vegas 71 headlined by Curtis Blades versus Sergey Pavlovich, and we're gonna round this boy out with UFC Fight Night Song Yadong versus Ricky Simone. We are going to talk about it, which is at the Apex, UFC Vegas 71 or 72. Just had 71. I was curious if I put it in my notes as UFC Vegas 72, and I was just like, nigga, I don't even know if they're gonna be in Vegas. They've started to travel ever so slightly. They've started to travel. Calling this episode All Nonsense in reference to last night Dominic Cruz, while commentating at UFC Vegas 71, they were showing obviously a promo for the upcoming title fight between Aljamain Sterling. For all the Jermaines, Aljamain Sterling defends his belt against Henry Cejudo. Henry Cejudo, who last fought Dominic Cruz. They show the highlight of him finishing Dominic Cruz. And Dominic Cruz famously said that Keith Peterson, famously called the no-nonsense Keith Peterson, smelled like beer and cigarettes, right? Smelled like beer and cigarettes, or alcohol and cigarettes, is what he said Keith Peterson smelled like after he stopped his fight. He felt like it was an early stoppage and said he smelled like beer and cigarettes, okay? It's just fucking hilarious. And as they're showing the preview for this fight, and they show that clip of Keith Peterson stepping in, Dominic Cruz calls Keith Peterson Keith All Nonsense Peterson. Alright? All nonsense. He has not gotten over the stoppage from Keith Peterson. I figured they would have told him to, like, not bring that shit up again. He questioned an official and accused him of being drunk or hungover, at least, while officiating a fight, is what he accused this man of. That state's athletic commission pays these officials. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you're talking about getting this man revoked, essentially. And it's like, if that isn't true, if those claims aren't true, he's just saying that because he's upset. That's insane. That's an insane hill to die on for Dominic Cruz, if there is no truth to what he's saying. But here we are, like, was it years later, and he's calling him Keith All Nonsense Peterson. So that's why episode 192 is all nonsense, ladies and gentlemen. all business here. And if you want that business, ladies and gentlemen, you can follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter at BabbleOn5Pod. You guys can email this podcast at BabbleOn5Podcast@gmail.com. You guys can hit that like button anywhere that you motherfuckers might be listening to this podcast. Maybe I shouldn't have swore there. I don't know. I felt weird as I swore there, mainly because I think, as far as posting this to YouTube, I mean, the audio automatically posts, but sometimes they don't post, and I'm not sure why that was, but I'm thinking as I watch other YouTubers and their channels grow, they'll be like, oh, we gotta watch the language within the first is it 10 minutes or something? And then it's cool, but as we're not 10 minutes in, we're 6 minutes in, and your boy's cursing, let's see what happens. And we're like, we ain't pushing this nonsense. This is all nonsense. As I said, episode 192, all nonsense. If you guys would like to follow your boy on Twitch, head on over to twitch.tv/Babylon5. You guys can cop some merchandise. Go head on over to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. And lastly, don't just be my niche, be my patrons. Head on over to patreon.com/BabbleOn5Pod. And you can be my patrons today. So I just want to touch on this briefly, just because I watched it last night, and I thought it was a pretty good boxing match between Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Tank Davis. Now, me having always been a big Floyd Mayweather fan, I'm somewhat familiar with the name Gervonta Tank Davis. I haven't been the biggest watcher of his fights. I caught some of his last fight. I caught some of Ryan Garcia's last fight, and I was like, oh, this nigga can actually box. You know what I'm saying? That was my takeaway. So when they booked, I don't know, with boxing, the way boxing is, when they booked this fight, I was like, wait, no way. I've heard of both of these guys. You know what I'm saying? If I've heard of both of these guys, usually those guys don't box each other. That's how boxing works. Nobody's gonna put their name and reputation on the line. You end up becoming someone. I was gonna say a name, and I felt like that would be too insulting. I don't know shit about it, so I won't. But last night, Tank Davis finishes Ryan Garcia in the 7th round via beautiful liver shot. So fast, so just perfectly placed that I was watching. I was like, fuck, I didn't even see what happened. I don't even know what happened. And I was watching the reactions of a lot of other fighters, a lot of fighters who are just watching the boxing match, and a lot of them were like, wait, what happened? I didn't even see. Nobody, this happened so fast that nobody, most people at home had no idea what just happened. You know what I'm saying? This was pretty amazing. This man's pretty powerful, but not just powerful, alright? Because it wasn't it didn't even look like he put a lot of power into that shot. It was just perfectly placed, super fast. Just Ryan Garcia didn't see this coming, and he's got great defense, at least better defense than Ryan Garcia. Garcia kind of leaves himself wide open. He, at one point, when he gets knocked down in this fight, he threw 4 left hooks in a row, 4, and missed all 4. All right, missed all 4. It wasn't like they were moving; they were pretty much standing in front of each other, and he threw 4 hooks and missed all 4. And after he threw the 4th, Tank dipped down under it, came up, and bam, caught him with a beautiful hook. and just sat that boy down. Alright? Tank looked great in there. He got touched a little bit, but sometimes, as I was saying, I put that in my notes. Which I just like, I noticed right before I was about to record, I didn't write any notes, and I was like, let me just put some notes in here. And I was going to talk about, like, walking through that fire. I can just reference this to, like, Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira. Like, you can have, someone can put out the blueprint on how to beat that guy, but you have to be fucking capable of executing that game plan. You have to be capable of walking through that fire, and Tank was definitely able to walk through that fire. It looked like, especially in the second round, like first round, Garcia was putting the pressure on Tank and just trying to stay in his face, back him up. He was trying to get all over him. He was just in his face, kept coming forward. But at this moment in the second round, when he got dropped, he kind of fell back on that a little bit. All right. Tank was getting touched because Garcia was just trying to stay in his face. But Tank was able to walk through that fire. He was able to just stand there, 10 toes down, fucking duck under those hooks. He ducked those hooks just like Banky Pound would say. All right, you gotta duck them hooks, and he ducked them hooks, went under and dropped that boy. Then he ducks another hook in the 7th round, and like comes under, and that's when he catches him with the slickest body shot. That Ryan Garcia, he had to take a knee, and that was the end of the fight. I enjoyed this fight, this boxing match. I really enjoyed it. I don't talk a lot about boxing here, because for the reasons like I just said, when they booked this fight, and I'm like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. I know both of those names. You're telling me two people with names, two people that are marketable, are gonna actually box each other? That never happens. It's usually just what they talk about. Even if they book fucking Crawford and Spencer. If they booked that, didn't they say they were booking it, and then all of a sudden, like a week later, it fell apart. Oh, we're gonna do Tyson Fury versus Usyk. It fell apart. Like, two people with names are not supposed to, with recognizable names, are not supposed to fight each other. Like when Haney fought Lomachenko, that was wild to me. I didn't think they would do it. So when I'm saying I'm being honest here about boxing and all that, it's just that I'm not too familiar with a lot of these people. I had to like Google. I'm on this like website for the 135 pound weight class. You got like, it says that number 1 is Shakur Stevenson, which I will say I don't know if I've ever seen him box. Then you got Devin Haney, who I have seen, who I thought is the one that's more so following in, like, he's the new Floyd Mayweather. I like his style a lot. Point fighting, and he stays safe for the most part. I like Devin Haney a lot from what I've seen. Definitely like Lomachenko. Lomachenko has looked phenomenal in some spaces. Like he looked like a fucking Super Saiyan out there against the right person, but definitely not Devin Haney. You got George Kambosos out there. I'm just looking at this list of names, and I'm thinking about, like, what does Gervonta Davis go after this? Who does he fight next? I've seen people talk about Devin Haney, and I don't want to see it. I don't think Haney is still in the Mayweather camp. He's trained with the Mayweather camp. And I just would not like to see those two box each other. So, and I don't know much about this Shakur Stevenson guy. It says he's 25. His birth name is Ash Shakur Nafi Shahid Stevenson. That's a long ass name, my nigga. Okay. Yeah, I don't know shit about this guy. Who did he box last? Shuichiro Yoshino? I've never heard of that guy. Before that, he beat Robson Conceição. Never heard of that person. Oscar Valdez? Nope. Jamel Herring? I'm not sure. I mean, the names... Both of those names really go with boxing and MMA and all that shit, so I'm not sure. So I've never heard of anybody he's boxed. He's ranked number 1 according to this Boxio site. This Boxio site. I don't know if this website's accurate or not, and I don't know where they go after this. I don't know if Tank needs to go down. Okay. So Stevenson is ranked number 1 at 135. I click the 130, just 5 pounds below that in the next weight class, and that Oscar Valdez guy who fought is here. The Robson, a lot of his fights are at a different weight class here, as I'm seeing. But he's currently ranked number 1. Interesting. 140. I just don't know too much about boxing. But I enjoyed last night's boxing match. I'll definitely be into watching Tank fight whoever he fights next. Hoping for a good one. But in MMA news, last night we had Sergey Pavlovich defeating Curtis Blades in the very first round. Finished him via KO, TKO. I'm not sure how they ruled it. I guess I have Topology right over here, and it was ruled TKO. I say TKO with punches at 2 ground and pound. He caught him with this beautiful lead uppercut, and Blades never saw it coming. Blades didn't see that punch coming at all, and it just fucked him up. If you guys are not watching the YouTube video and you're listening to this, I say go to the YouTube video. It's more of a visual experience. You know, I got GIFs here and whatnot. Some videos. Going to play a little video here later for another fight that I'm talking about here. It was something I saw that I thought was pretty interesting. But as I'm saying, Pavlovich finishes Curtis Blades in the very first round. Blades electing to not really attempt to wrestle. So early on in the fight, he landed like a right hand, and from that point on, it seemed like he had decided, all right, I'm gonna strike with this boy. He's got power, but his thing is wrestling, and he just chose not to wrestle. Maybe it's because of that uppercut. Maybe because that lead uppercut was so fast and he's getting caught and not seeing it, and he knew that like the uppercut like that, the lead uppercut is what got him knocked out against Derek Lewis. So maybe he was trying to avoid something like that. Potentially could have been the case, but Curtis Blades chose to stay there and stand up with Pavlovich, and was finished in 3 minutes and 8 seconds. It was like, 2 minutes. It was like 2:30, 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock, and Curtis Blades starts looking up at the clock like shit, how much time is left? Nigga, half the fucking first round and 4 more rounds after that if you can survive, nigga. It was not a good sign, and Pavlovich is victorious. So he was ranked 3 coming into this. Curtis Blades 4. I'd say the only fight for him next, as I was saying last week, like we're looking at potentially the next UFC champion after John Jones versus Stipe, because John Jones is already talking about retiring. I believe he beats Stipe. All right, I believe he's gonna beat Stipe. And regardless of that, I don't see John Jones fighting this guy. He's already talked about retirement. All right. I think they're going to have to put Sergey in there against unfortunately probably like a surreal gone, which interests me. I mean, I'm still a surreal gone guy. I just need him to, like, I saw him posting like back at the training all grappling, and then like 2 days later he was training with some strikers. Like, he was all posting about all the striking work he's doing. Like, immediately went back to the striking work. It was 2 days of grapple posts, and then immediately went back to striking posts. I mean, maybe it's changed since then, but I was like, I can't even watch this. I can't even watch it. So I don't think John Jones fights this guy next. I don't think Stipe fights this guy next. I don't know who Pavlovich fights next, but man, there's a good chance he could be champion, but he does keep his hands down as he's throwing. He throws the right, the left hand is down by his waist, and vice versa. The other hand is down by his waist. He's wide open to be countered. So we will see what happens, man. He's so powerful, but with a capable stand-up. As I've said here, I personally think John Jones has amazing defense with his striking, with the boxing. He looks to me like Floyd Mayweather out there, like a gigantic Floyd Mayweather with his head movement. He does the shell and comes around these beautiful counters. Like, he looked amazing against Dominic Reyes. It was an amazing thing to see. He's just back against the fence and just dodging everything. Just this shell, and like the fucking Joe Rogan and all them are going insane. And they're going insane for Reyes, and I'm like, dude, he didn't land anything. Go insane because John Jones just did some cool ass shit right there. That's what I was feeling like, ladies and gentlemen. Go crazy for John Jones, but I don't see John Jones fighting that monster. But we saw that Pavlovich is definitely a problem. I believe Curtis Blades was the favorite coming into that and got finished. Finito, ladies and gentlemen. He was finished. Another fight that happened on this card that we're going to talk about. It was pretty interesting. Bobby Green versus Jared Gordon. And before we even get into the ending, I just want to say that I thought Bobby Green was just going to fucking mollywop. Just come in there and his striking was going to be too high level for Jared Gordon striking. The way I've seen Jared Gordon strike, especially the way he looked against Patty. I thought he looked pretty sloppy against Patty. And the striking I saw against Bobby Green was night and day compared to how I seen him strike against Patty. He looked great out there, actually. It wasn't honestly cut and dry on who was winning, who was gonna win that fight, or who was winning leading up to the ending, the finish here. And that finishing question, Bobby Green goes for an elbow, and he like ducks his head down, and as he's going for the elbow, Jared Gordon ducks down and they clash heads. Jared Gordon falls to the ground. He attempts to go like wrap Bobby up with his legs, but Bobby like kind of gets out of that, moves the legs over and starts throwing punches and finishes Jared Gordon with punches. And as the announcer is reading off that Bobby Green is the winner, he stops and says, hey, the officials are discussing it right now. And then the officials come in and tell Bobby Green that it's going to be a no contest because of the headbutt, which caused him to fall, but he wasn't like knocked out by it. You know what I'm saying? He kicked him. He did an up kick here, tried to wrap him up with the legs there. So they called for a no contest immediately. But Chris Curtis here, the same thing happened. He was winning the round against Kelvin Gastelum. And then the headbutt happened, which caused him to drop. But in real time, you didn't really see what the fuck just happened. You couldn't really see it. But in the replay, you saw, oh shit, it was a headbutt, and that caused him to like fall. He was like knocked out for a second, and he lost. And he was saying like, yo, I'm appealing this. This should be changed to a no contest because of the headbutt knocked me out. And he lost the round because it looked like in real time, it looked like he got dropped by punches. They were standing there trading, and it looked like he got dropped by punches, but it was the headbutt. And the ref did not stop the fight after this head clash. No, he let it go on. And then Bobby finished the fight and declared, and Bobby was the winner. So like, it's weird here that I've even seen online, people were like, yeah, this is the right thing to do. It should be a no contest. But the same people that are saying, yeah, this is the right thing to do, are saying Chris Curtis is the biggest crybaby. Like, why can't he take his loss and just lose? Because you guys are fucking, you're fickle. You don't care how judges should be judging fights. You just feel like they should go off emotions. and you can't just switch it up by case by case. If this is a no contest, then that fight should be a no contest. All right, Chris Curtis is he's not overreacting to what happened there. He's reacting appropriately to what happened there, and that fight should be turned over to a no contest. I mean, if you're Kelvin Gastelum, it makes sense that you want to just move on. He's trying to fight. I think he called out that white nigga, Dricus du Plessis, the South African. He called him out, but they booked du Plessis versus Robert Whittaker. So we could run back Chris Curtis versus Kelvin Gastelum now. 5 rounds, and let's see what happens in there. I would love to see it, because I feel like Chris Curtis was looking great up until that headbutt. He was definitely winning that round. So next week we have Ricky Simón versus Song Yadong. Alright, which sounds like it could be a banger. You have Song Yadong, who's just heavy-handed, great striking, right? Looks really good against Corey Sandhagen. Alright? He looked good as far as the striking is concerned against Corey Sandhagen. And as you know, Ricky Simón is going to want to grapple Song Yadong. And I think his striking is honestly a lot better than people, because he's known to be a grappler. I think his striking is a lot better than people give Ricky Simón credit for. But what I want to say is the thing that's the biggest tell for me on who I believe will win this fight is this video I saw, which is Song Yadong versus Corey Sandhagen. Now this video is pointing out, it's highlighting whenever Corey Sandhagen feints a takedown and how Song Yadong reacts to that. Now keep in mind, he's fighting someone who's known for their great grappling. Simón is going to shoot on you, and this is how he's reacting to those shots. Corey goes down and Song falls all the way. He sprawls to the ground in anticipation for that takedown. He fucking sprawls fucking flat on the ground. Huge react to Corey feinting a shot. Alright? Had to start that over. Huge react. Alright? Corey later in does another one. He dips, bends all the way down. Once again, third time. Bends all the way down. Slight feint. Song Yadong dips, jumps back slightly. My point is here with this video. Song Yadong is reacting so hard, alright, to any of these feints. He's reacting very hard to these feints. It's I had to slow it down for a little bit here. Video's going too fast. So boom, he goes to sprawl flat on his face. I think this spells a nightmare for Song Yadong. Yeah, he's powerful, and people think he should probably have the advantage in the striking, but I think Ricky Simone is more than capable of hanging with Song Yadong in the stand-up. And I think just how Song is reacting to these feints, Simone will be able to really take advantage of how Song fights here. Oh, he bent all the way over there. Could have caught that boy with a knee. That was crazy. It's insane how much Song is reacting to these feints. Like, he's biting hard on his feints as if these takedowns are coming. Like, that sprawl, ooh, that's not a good look. So, obviously, my pick is going to be Ricky Simone by domination. This is the new headline, as the original headline was my boy Arman Sarukian versus Renato Moicano, but Moicano pulled out because of an injury. Damn, we were supposed to have Chelsea Chandler versus Daniel Wolf on this card. I just want to mention that when Chelsea Chandler posted on Twitter that she had a fight booked, and she was like, guess who? And people were throwing out random names, but me, an intellectual, I guessed Daniel Wolf. Chelsea Chandler gave your boy, Chelsea Chandler and another of her teammates gave me a like. And then maybe a couple days later it was announced, Chelsea Chandler versus Daniel Wolf. But unfortunately, Daniel Wolf pulled out of the fight, as she should have. I don't think that fight would have gone too well for her. I don't think she's UFC ready, but she's got a good story. You know, boxed in the Olympics, was in the ESPN body issue back in the day, but she is 39 years old. 39 years old with an MMA record of 1-1. Alright? I don't think, and she looked, in her one win in MMA is her Contender Series fight that she did not look good in. But this isn't the shit on Danielle Wolf show. This is not the shit on Danielle Wolf show. So, yeah, as I was saying, that fight was canceled. These fights also canceled was Emily Ducote versus Poliana Viana. Were fights canceled, but we got Caio Borralho versus Michael Olasechek. I think that fight is going to be a banger. That's probably going to be fight of the night right there, if not the main event. I usually don't try to put the main event as like fight of the night. Usually people fighting in the main event are making decent money, or at least better than the rest of the guys. So like that 50,000 bonus, I prefer to go to people lower on the card, but I think this could be a banger. Caio Borralho versus Michael Olasechek. I love Olasechek. Borralho's a beast. Cody Brundage versus Adolfo Vieira. That's gonna be a pretty interesting fight. There's some good fights here. Not the biggest names on this card, if you will, but there'll be pretty big names to you if you'd like. As I'm saying, I'm hyped about Chelsea Chandler, and you guys are probably like, who the fuck are you talking about? Alright? You're probably like, who the fuck are you talking about? Unless you're a weekly watcher. Unless you're a guy who fucking talks to himself in this room. Alright? You probably don't know who Chelsea Chandler is, but these names, my point is, these names are as big as you want them to be. It's still real to me, goddammit. So if you feel like, fucking, I'm a huge Cody Durden fan. Cody Durden's fighting Charles Johnson. If you guys feel like, is that Energy? Is that Charles Energy? I believe that's who that is. Yup, Energy. We just lost to Ode Osborne. Milwaukee stand up. yeah, that's all we're going to talk about this week, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys so much. Nah, it's going to be a good card. We got Stephanie Egger versus this girl, Irina Alexieva. It's going to be a good card, ladies and gentlemen. All these cards are good cards, you know? How else can you get hype about these fighters unless you watch them fight, ladies and gentlemen? That's why I'm sitting here like, oh shit, that nigga's fighting this nigga? Because I've seen them all fight. That's why I can't necessarily feel that way about boxing, because I don't know who any of these people are. There's like a million fucking boxers, so I guess that's an issue as far as like the difference between like UFC being a promotion where only people fight with under that promotion, but boxing is like, oh, this guy's promotion is top rank, but he's the WBC blah blah blah, and that's the IW something champion, and that's the BJJAAF champion. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a million fucking boxers, but I guess it's like everybody from all over the world will probably essentially box each other. You can still be pretty protected. I mean, when Floyd Mayweather fought Ricky Hatton, they were both 40-0. Both 40-0. But that didn't say anything to how good Ricky Hatton was with being 40-0. Because he went in there and got fucking embarrassed by Floyd Mayweather. That boy styled all over him. So, it is what it is. You guys should watch the card next week. And if you guys would like to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at BabbleOn5Pod. You guys can email this podcast at BabbleOn5Podcast@gmail.com. If you guys would like to hit that like button anywhere that you're listening to this podcast, I'd appreciate it so much. If you guys are on Twitch, go ahead and follow your boy at twitch.tv/BabbleOn5. You guys can cop some merchandise by heading on over to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. And lastly, don't just be my niche, be my patron. Head on over to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod, and you can be my patron today if you feel so inclined. Thank you guys for being here another week. Episode 192, all nonsense. Gonna get up out of here. I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you when I see you. I'll holla.
Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican.